welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Is there a possibility that Matthew, Mark, and Luke have, quote, written off each other because their Gospels are so similar compared to John? Well, they are very similar. In fact, we call them the Synoptic Gospels because they're so similar. The Gospel of John is so unique. In fact, only 7% of the Gospel of John is contained in the other three Gospels. Some of the most famous stories in the Bible, whether it's turning water into wine, Nicodemus, the woman at the well, these are stories that are unique to John alone. However, there are some similarities across all four. The feeding of the 5,000, the Passion Week, the death, the burial, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, those are contained in all four of them. But I will agree with you, Matthew, Mark, and Luke are very similar in so many different ways and capacities. And so, according to the concept known as textual criticism, there is a common source, often referred to as either Mark and or this fabricated Q document, that everybody derived their information from. Now, I want to push back against that. They may be similar because they saw and they walked and they viewed Jesus at the same time in the same manner. They just did so from different angles. The best description I've ever heard about the four Gospels is I want you to imagine that you're in an intersection of a road and that something takes place in the intersection. It could be as tragic as a car wreck, or it could be as celebratory as a parade. It doesn't matter. If you're standing on one of the respective four corners, who you are is going to determine the perspective and that which you communicate. Based on your angle, you may not have seen that event. You may not have known the number of people. And based on who you are, i.e. Luke is a doctor, Mark was a young person, Matthew was an accountant, would determine kind of how you approach things. For example, Matthew always tells us there were two people that were healed, but he won't give the names. Mark tells us that it was blind Bartimaeus that was healed, but doesn't tell us there was another guy. That's not a contradiction. It's just you have two different people on two different parts of the intersection seeing the same event, and God used them respectively. So let me challenge not just you, but whomever asked the question. Rather than focusing on the, quote, differences that or the similarities that they may or may not have, let's look at the collective picture of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They give us the whole package, the whole picture. And so again, textual criticism oftentimes is a means to try to get in the weeds and try to find faults, so to speak. Rather than that, why don't we find the congruencies in the complete picture that God's given us with all of the Gospels? Great question. If you have one, send it to askjeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at askjeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.